According to Miller and Rolnick, the founders of motivational interviewing, or MI for short, this communication style is a particular way of talking with people about change and growth in order to strengthen their own motivation and commitment. More specifically, MI is a collaborative conversation about a behavior change, such as being consistent with rehab exercises or being more physically active in general. The conversation could be about a change related to eating or hydration or generating buy-in to get your patient to adhere to an exercise program or leveraging digital care tools. In this conversation about change, the practitioner invites the patient to share their personal reasons for change, and the idea is that when they share more about their motivation for sticking with that new behavior, they actually become more motivated because they can hear themselves talk about why it matters. This conversation is facilitated by a practitioner who exudes acceptance and non-judgment and compassion. In a nutshell, students and professionals across the rehab professions are learning about motivational interviewing to enhance their patient-clinician interactions and to better support their motivation for the changes that are often crucial in their rehab and recovery. Let's dive into some basic MI concepts so that you too can start employing some of these powerful communication strategies in the work that you do with patients. First, consider the fact that most of your patients are ambivalent about making the changes that you recommend. There's part of them that wants to experience the healing and they believe these exercises will bring that. And there's part of them that also recognizes that there are very real barriers standing in the way with a chaotic home life, a busy work schedule, or general feelings of discouragement about their progress. They may come across as motivated and ready to do whatever you recommend. And when they leave your clinic, they may discover that making and sustaining change is a little harder than it looks. In other words, most people are more ambivalent than they realize about change. Pressuring someone who's ambivalent or on the fence about change, it almost always backfires. As humans, we tend to want to push back against others who are telling us what to do. Motivational interviewing is the antidote to this approach. In MI, the practitioner changes their mindset away from, I'm the expert and therefore you should do what I say, to, you know what, you're the expert of your body and your life patterns and you know what will work best for you. That shift in mindset supports the patient's autonomy to make choices in their rehab and in their recovery. This mindset is referred to as the spirit of motivational interviewing, and it includes expressing that vibe of partnership, acceptance, compassion, and empowerment. A practitioner who is attempting to use MI is aware of the specific ways in which they can communicate with their patient. They ask open-ended questions to get to know their patient, assess their patient's needs, wants, and desires, and to elicit their motivations for change and their ideas for how they might go about making the change. A skilled MI practitioner sprinkles in affirmations that acknowledge the characteristics and personal strengths of their patient, and through those affirmations, they enhance their patient's self-confidence. They also use reflective practice to mirror back pieces of what the patient is sharing so that the patient feels heard and understood. When patients hear the reasons that they have for sticking with their new behavior change spoken back to them, they often experience increased motivation for change. Summaries are a lot like reflections, but they offer a wider glimpse of the conversation. A practitioner might use summaries now and then to kind of summarize what they've heard the patient saying over the last few minutes of the session. Summaries provide a sweeping overview of the patient's key thoughts and feelings, which helps the practitioner and the patient to sort of organize what their thoughts and feelings are as they travel along in the conversation together. Take a look at this demonstration and see if you can identify the different components of motivational interviewing that we've just discussed.
All right, so now that I've had a chance to take a look at everything and get the big picture about how your body's moving, I can share my ideas with you about what I think is going on if that would be helpful.
Yes, I'd like to know. That would be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So it seems to me like your hamstring muscles, the ones on the back of your thigh, are a little bit tight, and that's making it difficult for your hip to go into flexion, which is where you kind of bring your knee to your chest, and that's causing strain on your low back. How does that line up with your experience?
That makes sense. I've always felt a little bit tight in that area.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. So I can get you set up with a exercise routine to start working on that flexibility and maybe even get some more strength in your hip area as well. But before we dive into that, let me ask you, how much time in a week do you realistically have to do some exercises?
It has been a busy year. I work part-time and I have 3 kids who are all in activities, probably like 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow, 3 kids to take care of and you're working part-time. That's a lot to juggle, but you're still here at PT trying to address this pain you've been having and taking care of your body. That's really admirable.
I want to be able to do things as a family. And this summer, we have some hiking plans, and I don't want to ruin it with this injury.
Yeah, you care about family time.
Yes, I do.
That's really helpful for me to know. What else makes this 10 to 15 minutes of exercise important to you?
I know I haven't been as active with this pain, and eventually that's going to catch up with me in terms of health.
Yeah, you care about your health and your family, creating meaningful experiences with them, and you see this mobility piece to be an important part of that.
Yes, absolutely.
How many days each week do you think you can set aside to do these 10 to 15 minutes?
Probably 4 days a week.
Okay, great. So 4 days a week, 10 to 15 minutes each time. And what time of day might be best to try and steal away for these little mini movement breaks?
Definitely during my daughter's nap time. My 2 sons are at school, but my daughter is at home with me after preschool, and she takes a nap. That would be the best time.
Yeah, get this done while she's sleeping. That's a smart move. I like it. What might be helpful for you to remember to do these exercises? Has anything worked in the past when you've tried to set up new habits?
My phone works great. I can pick up the 4 days that we don't have things planned, 2 weekends, and 2 weekdays, and set up my alarm.
Awesome. So it sounds like you have a plan for yourself, 4 days a week, twice during the week, and then on the weekends, about 10 to 15 minutes each time during your daughter's nap time. And you mentioned your phone alarm. I'm curious if you use your phone for other things like banking or social media. And the reason I ask is because we have an app that we can help get you set up with, and it has these cool little built in phone reminders. What do you think about that?
Yes, I use my phone all the time, and an app sounds really good.
Okay, great. So we'll have John at the front desk get you set up with that app, and we'll make sure to program the reminders for the 4 days a week during your daughter's nap time. And I'm really hopeful that with your commitment to this exercise plan, we'll be able to get your flexibility and strength better so you can be out there hiking with your family by summer.
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks.
In this interaction, the practitioner demonstrated partnership by asking if it was okay to share her assessment. Then she provided her thoughts on the matter and followed that up by asking the patient how it aligned with his own experience. This demonstrated a very collaborative mindset. Next, she tried to empower the patient by exploring his reasons for change, affirming his personal strengths, and giving him space to talk through a plan of action. She treated the patient as the expert in asking about previous attempts at change and what worked in the past. In this brief session, she used open-ended questions, affirmations, reflections, and summaries. She used all of the ORs. In fact, you'll notice that most of the practitioner's responses when you're delivering MI fall into one of those 4 categories. When you use these skills of motivational interviewing, your patient feels heard, respected, and empowered.